And the hashtag to follow, what we're doing mainly is virtual because of the corona pandemic. So if you go to the social media hashtag and you do GW 2021 or GW Uganda UG, you see all the activities that are being done countrywide and worldwide. In Uganda, I have about 40 activities going on from different organizations that are just trying to help entrepreneurs.
Oh, okay.
And Dan Blaire, we see it as one of them. Very glad to have you here.
Hi, Esther, how are you?
Hi, Ronald, how are you?
I'm very well. We are very excited to have you.
I'm excited to be invited as well.
Yes, I will be watching carefully in the background as a bid status of.
All right, no problem.
All right, cool. Kalibambi. Have a good session.
Thank you.
As we wait for a few more people to join, we see some people are here. Maybe you can tell us about your businesses. Anybody can unmute and just briefly tell us about your business. You can have a small discussion.
So sorry, I lost you for a minute. Can you hear me?
Esther, can you now hear me? I just had
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay. I said a small technical issue here.
Sorry about that.
So I was just requesting people in the chat to just briefly mention who they are and what business are they doing. I'll wait for more people to get on board. You can unmute or you can type in chat about your business or where you're from. Nobody wants to take this opportunity to talk about their business? Or seem to be shy? Okay.
No, we are not shy. Good morning, Abid. Let me take this opportunity to introduce myself and the nature of business that we are doing. My name is Mary Nanyomo. I'm the business growth manager. I'm from Amarin Financial Group. I'm sure many of you would be interested in our services. We are into financial services when it comes to bookkeeping, accounting, and then we have a platform called Source, where you can be able to track your expenses. So that's the brief I can give you as for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Anybody else?
Yes, hello everyone.
Yes, Albert.
Yes, good morning to everyone. My name is Albert Amani, and I do multi-purpose liquid soap production and soap production. And the name of my company is Happy Times Investments Limited, a registered company. So we do this multi-purpose liquid soap that does every kind of cleaning domestic work. So it is the quality liquid soap, which is which leathers well in soap, like it's really quality and it's liked in the market. So the name of the product is called Happy Wash Liquid Soap. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Albert. Anybody else prefer to tell us about their business?
Yes, good morning, everyone. I'm Timothy Wasirwa. I work with the home tech food processors. We are manufacturers. We add value to tamarind fruits. We make tamarind fruit juice. We make tamarind jam, and all our products are certified. So please feel free to find them in your nearest shop. Thank you.
Tamarind, you're getting on that. That is quite good. Tamarind products are very big in Tanzania. There is tamarind ice cream, tamarind everything.
Okay.
Yeah, if you ever get time, you can just jump down to Tanzania and just see how they're doing it. They have processed it quite well, and it is a very common taste.
All right, thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Shigwe Godfrey is in Bwebaja and property management at the moment with the Marago company. Welcome, Godfrey. Albert, you mentioned you're in soap. Also, it's something that Tanzanians do quite well. They get spices and add them to soap. So spices which here in Uganda are reserved for food, they add to their soap and it gives them an amazing flavor, an amazing scent. Oh yeah, it's always good to know what the neighbors are up to so that you can also improve. A bit of market research. Anybody else want to tell us about their business? You can just introduce yourself either in chat or you can unmute briefly and just talk about yourself for a minute. Anybody? Okay, it is 9 o'clock. Let us begin. Our guest today is Esther from Dyer and Blaire. We're going to talk about how shares can help you with a focus on the MTN IPO. Esther, the floor is yours. You can introduce yourself and get right into it.
Thank you, Abid. My name is Esther Kakiiza, General Manager, Blaire, Uganda. Blaire is a fully fledged investment bank with its parent company in Nairobi and the subsidiary in Uganda. We have so many partnerships with other East African countries, i.e. Dar es Salaam, Rwanda, and Burundi. So if you wish to invest on those stock exchanges, we are the people to go to. So I'll dive straight away to our topic today. Investing in shares, a case of the MTN IPO. I think we should first understand what shares are before we know how to invest. So today I have two presentations. One is all about the shares, then the other one is how to actually plug in and apply for the shares. So what are shares? Shares are units of ownership in a company. Investors who buy shares or who hold shares are known as shareholders. Who can buy shares? Individuals can buy shares. It doesn't matter whether you're Ugandan or not, you still can buy shares. Institutions can also buy shares. Institutions, we mean companies, investment clubs, circles, mutual funds, hedge funds, to mention but a few. Institutions can also buy shares. A minor can also own shares through their guardian, and when they're of age, the shares are transferred to them and they have a right to buy and sell thereafter. Let's talk about the participants in the capital markets industry. We have issuers on this side and investors on the other side. Just like I said, individuals can buy shares. Issuers can also buy shares. Issuers are people. Insurers, sorry, can also buy shares. Pension funds, banks, governments, central banks, endowments and foundations, mutual funds, hedge funds, private equity firms, to mention but a few. Then issuers are people who sell their shares to the public. This can be companies, this can be financial institutions, this can be government bodies like KCCA, this can be government bodies. So all those can sell shares to their public. In Uganda, we have 4 brokers. Stock brokers are people who buy and sell shares on behalf of their clients. We have 6 of them. We have Dyer and Blaire, we have SBG, we have Crested Capital, we have UAP, Baroda Capital Markets, and Equity Stock Brokers. The structure of the capital markets industry, we have 2 markets. One is the primary market, the other is the secondary market. What do they mean? Primary market refers to marketing of new shares in a company that is going to, the primary market is marketing of new shares of a company that has gone public for the first time. The secondary market is where you can sell shares once you have acquired them. So there are 2 markets, primary market and secondary market. The primary market in this case of MTN is what we are in. The secondary market will be after the 6th of December. We are regulated by the capital markets industry. Rather, we are regulated by capital markets the Capital Markets Authority puts in place guidelines to help everyone, i.e. investors, issuers, and all other participants. They help us, they guide us on how to operate, they protect the investors, and also carry out all other functions that are connected to protecting investors. Under CMA, as you can see, we have brokers and dealers, we have fund managers, we have investment advisors. The CMA also regulates the Uganda Securities Exchange, and the Uganda Securities Exchange regulates all trading activities. So if you had a problem with your broker or anything that didn't go well while your broker was trading, Uganda Securities Exchange is the first person to run to. If you're not contented with their response, you can then go to the Capital Markets Authority and lodge your complaint. So this is the regulatory framework. The top regulator is Capital Markets Authority, and then the USE just regulates trading activities. What are the benefits and risks of buying shares? One is dividends. If a company makes profits, they declare an annual dividend at the annual general meeting. So, for example, let's take a case of MTN. If MTN makes profits in 2021, say 340 billion, it will declare a dividend, say 30 shillings per share. So you get those 30 shillings that they've declared and multiply with the number of shares that you have. That will be your annual dividend. When a company makes losses, sometimes they don't pay profits, other times they don't pay dividends, other times they pay out of their retained earnings. So it is not a must for a company to pay dividends. When they make losses, they will not pay dividends. When they make profits, that is when they will pay dividends. But some companies pay out of retained earnings when they make losses. We also have capital gains. Capital gains is the difference between the price you buy at and the price at which you sell, if the price is high. For example, if you bought MTN at 100 shillings, and in the secondary market, the price goes to, say, 300, the gain on each share is 200. So you get your 200 shillings and multiply it with the number of shares that you have. The other benefit is that it can be used as collateral, but that depends on the bank. Some banks don't accept shares as collateral because of the price fluctuations. So it depends again on the bank that is issuing the loan. Some banks do not accept it, other banks accept it. Then it's another way of diversifying your portfolio. If you had rentals as your business, if you had maybe land, if you had treasury bills, you can look at diversifying your portfolio with shares. Just like any other business, shares do have risks. And one of the risks is price fluctuations. Share prices go up and down at any time. So that is the risk that is there. If you bought, an example is, if you bought MTN at 200 shillings and sold it at 150, your loss will be 50 shillings on each share. It will simply mean you've lost your initial investment, and that is a loss to you. Let's talk about the MTN IPO. Just like you all know, MTN issued its shares to 20% of its shareholding to the public on the 11th of October. MTN is a leading telecom in Uganda with a market share of 59.1 and 15 million customers. Its major revenue lines are voice, data, fintech, and digital revenues. Why did MTN list? It listed because that was a condition required with the new Uganda Communications Commission license renewal. So in order for MTN to renew their license, the condition was they need to list on the Uganda Securities Exchange. This IPO can be conducted through mobile phones, making it the first mobile IPO in East Africa. It is also a green paper-free IPO, and all IPO materials can be accessed online. The number of shares on offer are 477,808,848. So those are the number of shares. It's an equivalent of 895 billion. That is what they are looking to raise in this IPO. The price per share is 200 shillings. The minimum number of shares you can buy is 500 and they cost 100,000. The offer started on 11th of October and it closes on the 22nd of November, 2021 at 4 p.m. There is an incentive for Ugandans. If you use your MTN line and you're also a Ugandan, you have 10 incentives. If you use other platforms to buy the shares and you're Ugandan, there are 5 incentive shares. If you are East African, you also have 5 incentive shares. If you're a foreigner, unfortunately, there is no incentive for you. The allocation policy is Ugandan retail first, then Ugandan professional investors, and East Africans and foreigners last. So that is the allocation policy. Let's talk about the common jargon in an IPO. I'm sure you've all heard about on TVs, on radios, you've had the ads and they're asking you to open up an SCD account before you apply for the shares. An SCD account is where your shares are kept after you have bought them. So that is why you're required to open up an SCD account before you buy your shares. It's not a bank account, but it's an account where your shares will be held after you have bought them. You've all heard about, I'm sure you've all heard about a document called a prospectus. It's just like a book. It is a formal document issued by the company to invite subscriptions from the public. That prospectus has information about the company, its management team, its recent financial results, and other relevant information that is very important for you to make a decision before you invest. There's also what they call an oversubscription. It is a situation in which a company receives more applications to purchase their shares compared to the number of shares that they have issued. For example, we just said MTN has offered about 4.5 billion shares. If MTN got 5 billion applications worth of shares, that means the IPO is oversubscribed. I can give you some investor tips. Before you invest in the MTN IPO, you need to speak to a professional. Those include licensed stockbrokers, licensed investment advisor, or any other advisor that you trust to guide you. Expectations are different. Some are in it for the short term, others are in it for medium term, and others are in it for a long term. So you need to speak to a professional before you invest in shares. You also need to have a long-term investment horizon. Long-term investment horizon, we mean 5 years and above. This is not like betting where you go 90 minutes, the match is done and you're handed your money, no, or your profits. No, this is a long-term investment horizon, and you need to put that into consideration before you invest. You need to diversify your portfolio. By diversifying your portfolio, we mean you need to look at different sectors. This is the first telecom company listing on the Uganda Securities Exchange. So it will be very good to diversify in terms of sectors. Also for people who have been investing on the Nairobi Stock Exchange, this is a good time for you to diversify. You can also invest on the Uganda Securities Exchange. The other tip is start slowly as you gain experience. We are not going to learn everything at once. You cannot learn everything in the capital markets industry at once. You need time. You need to experience it for yourself. No one is going to tell you about it and you believe it, but you need to experience it for yourself. Then the other tip is you need to deal with a licensed stockbroker. Why are you dealing with a licensed stockbroker? It is going to help you when you have problems with your stockbroker. The first person you run to is Capital Markets Authority. But if you deal with a broker that is not licensed, you have no one to run to. So that is why it is important to look out for people who are licensed by Capital Markets Authority, and their brokers should be members of the Uganda Securities Exchange. I don't know if you have any questions so far before we go to the application process.
We can maybe just continue the application process, and then we shall get some questions coming in. People, you can, in case you have questions, you can keep posting them in chat. We shall have a session where we go through them with everybody, with Esther. So you can just leave your questions in chat, and then once Esther is done with the application process, you can come back to that. Esther, you want to take a cup of water?
No, it's okay. So I'm going to take you through the application process. I'm sure you've all had those ads running on TV, Jane Kafuluwa shares. So we have 3 ways of applying for the MTN shares. One is through the mobile phone. Just like I said, this is the first green IPO in East Africa. So everything is being done online. So the first option is to use your mobile phone. Simply dial *165 *65#. It will take you to a page asking you to apply for an SCD account or to apply for the MTN shares. But remember, we said before you apply for the shares, you need an SCD account where your shares will be kept. So go to option 1, select option 1 and apply for an SCD account. Enter your NIN number, that is your national identification number. Select a stockbroker. There are very many stockbrokers, just like I said, we are 6. You can select Dyer and Blaire if you want, or any other broker that you trust. Accept the terms and conditions, and then enter your mobile money PIN. Opening an SCD account is free of charge. You do not need to have airtime. You do not need to have mobile money. It is totally free of charge. A confirmation message will be sent to you with your SCD number, and it will show you the broker that you have selected. After opening the SCD account, please go ahead and apply for shares. But this time, you need to have mobile money on your phone. that mobile money should be worth the amount that you want to invest. Again, dial *165*65# to apply for the shares. This time you will not go to option 1. Please select option 2, which is apply for MTN shares. It will bring another page that shows apply for self or apply for another. If you're applying for self, it will automatically show you your SCD number, your broker and your name, so you confirm. You can also buy for another, but you need to know their SCD number. So if you want to buy for another, you'll select option 2. Select your stockbroker, then select buy shares, enter your mobile money PIN, and then a notification with the number of shares and application ID will be sent to you. So the process of buying shares, MTN shares through the mobile money platform is very easy and seamless, and it has been advertised. However, what has not been advertised is the easy portal method, which is our second way of applying for the shares. So I'll take you through step by step. This is how it looks like. It will bring a dashboard, market, company accounts, current IPOs. First of all, click register a new SCD account if you don't have one. If you already had one existing, you can use one. If maybe you bought Wumeme shares, you can still use that SCD account to apply for the MTN shares. But if you don't have an SCD account, register a new SCD account, enter your personal details, and click next. Enter your nationality, enter your passport number or your national ID, upload the front part of your passport or national ID, upload the back part of your national ID or passport, and then upload a passport size photograph or selfie, and then click next. Enter your other information like physical address, post box, city, country, telephone number, email address, source of funds. Source of funds is very important because we want to know where you're getting this money from. We don't want to touch or get any money that is laundered or that is dirty money. So that is why we require you to fill in your source of funds. Enter bank information for remittance. This is dividend remittance, or in case of an oversubscription, your funds or your money will be deposited onto that account. When you use the MTN mobile money, your funds in case of an oversubscription or dividends will be put on your mobile money. That is why they don't ask you for bank details when you're using the mobile money platform. Select your broker. These are the brokers in Uganda. Select a broker of your choice and then click next. Review your details and submit them, and also accept terms and conditions. An SCD account number will be sent to you after the broker has approved and the Uganda Securities Exchange. After they've approved, an SCD number will be sent straight to your email. After receiving an SCD number, you will now apply for the shares or apply for the MTN IPO shares. It is very easy. This is how it looks like. Click on apply for this IPO, enter your SCD number. Automatically, if you enter your SCD number, it will bring your name, your ID, your phone, your email, and your address. After that, select the broker you're going to use to apply. Put the number of shares you want to buy. They should be in multiples of 500. Each share costs 200. Select payment mode. Usually people who apply using the Easy Portal have have paid using the bank, your details for refund or dividend payment will be pulled from your SCD account details that you opened. So they will reflect here where we've blurred the bank, the branch, account number, and name. So you save and confirm. Your application will be sent to your broker. Your broker will check if you have paid for the IPO, and they'll verify your application. The third option is to fill in the paperwork, the traditional method, the way we had been doing it, but we are discouraging that as this is a paperless IPO. We want everything to be done online. However, if you get challenges, feel free to visit your broker and use the paper option. So Dan Blaire is located in your house, ground floor. More information on that, write to us in case you have challenges applying. Use the email, get back to you. Abid, over to you.
All right, thank you very much, Esther, for that presentation. Actually, I learned quite a number of things that I bought shares before. So in case you already have an SCD account and you're using MTN, you just go straight to the buy shares. Esther. Esther, we can't hear you. You're muted. Eh?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Yeah, I was asking, in case somebody already has shares, okay, in case somebody has an SCD account, what would the process be for shares?
In case someone already has an SCD account, it is simple. Just go straight to the application using your MTN line or the Easy Portal platform. So you don't need to open up another SCD account. The old one that you have can work.
Oh, okay. All right. Now, in case you have any questions, you can put them in chat or you can raise your hand. We shall unmute you and you can ask. Esther, thank you very much for that presentation. Dyer and Blaire has been around for quite some time. We are happy how you are developing the capital markets in Uganda. Just maybe a question to get us started. A reminder that this is part of the Global Entrepreneurship Week. We are featuring events like this, talks like this that will help you grow your business. So you can go to GW, you can look for the hashtag GW2021 or GWUG on any social media platform. We have over 40 events happening, giving you information on how to build your business. So Esther, you mentioned the secondary market and the primary market. What is the major difference between them? If I understood correctly, primary market is when the company is selling for the first time?
Yes. The case of MTN, when a company first goes out to the public and invites them to buy shares, that's the primary market. That is what we are in now. The primary market for MTN started on the 11th of October and ends on the 22nd of November. So after that, we'll wait for allotment or allocation during that time between the 22nd of November and the 6th of December. We'll have the registrar allocating shares to the different people or to the different investors. So after they've allotted the shares and credited them onto your SCD account, on the 6th of December, 2021, that is when the secondary market begins. The secondary market is where investors the ones that wish to dispose of their shares can buy, can sell, and those who didn't get a chance to participate in the primary market can also buy in the secondary market. Also, if you need to add more shares onto what you have, you can use the secondary market.
Okay. So in the secondary market, do you go through the same process?
No, you already have an existing account. Just place your buy or sell order with your broker through email, or you can visit their offices and place your sell or buy order.
Okay.
Yes.
And right. As we wait for the questions to come in, you can post any question you have in chat. There's a question from Oscar, who is asking, thank you for your presentation. What if after purchasing shares in a company, the same company closes shop after 5 years? Will I be able to redeem my shares, or that's a total loss?
Okay, thank you, Oscar, for that question. Just like I told you, we have a regulator who is Capital Markets Authority. The Capital Markets Authority is watching all the participants in the capital markets industry, including the brokers, including the issuers. So the Capital Markets Authority puts regulations to ensure that the investor is protected. All these issuers that you see, MTN, Wumeme, NIC, they are required to publish their financial results every end of year and every half year. So they publish their results, and CMA is regulating them and making sure that there is no collapse. But I cannot guarantee that there will be no collapse of a company listed on the stock exchange. What will then happen is when it collapses, they'll first compensate the preference shareholders. After compensating the preference shareholders, they'll also compensate any suppliers, employees that will be demanding the company. Then lastly, from the assets that they have sold or that they have, they'll compensate the ordinary shareholders. Those are people who buy shares on the stock exchange, your ordinary shareholders. So you'll be the last to be compensated. Oscar, I hope that answers your question.
Okay. Well, there are a number of questions that are now coming in. There's a question from Walker. What can I expect if I invest in the stock market? And then somebody is asking, who are the preference shareholders? I'm assuming this is the case of MTN.
The case of MTN is ordinary shareholders. Usually the shares listed on a stock exchange are ordinary. So your ordinary shareholders, not preference shareholders.
Okay.
Preference shareholders is a different setting altogether. They don't call upon the public to come and buy. It is a special and private arrangement where they call different people to come and buy shares. So they don't call, the preference shareholders are not called in public.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. There's a question. Walker's question is, what can I expect if I invest in the stock market?
Walker, we talked about the benefits of buying shares. That is what you're going to expect. You expect dividends if a company makes profit. I gave an example that every after the financial year of a company ends, they're supposed to publish their financial results and also call an annual general meeting. So in that annual general meeting, that is when they decide on what dividend to give their shareholders, depending on the profits that they have made. I gave an example. If they declare 30 shillings per share dividends of 30 shillings per share. It simply means get the 30 shillings and multiply it with the number of shares that you have to get what you will earn in terms of dividends. Then we talked about capital gains. Capital gains, for example, if you bought a share at 200 shillings and the price increases to 300, the gain on each share is 100. But
Esther, seem to have lost you. Hello? Esther? Can everybody else hear me? Okay, we seem to have lost Esther a little bit. I can answer some of the questions as we wait for Esther to come back. Okay. So what is the minimum amount of time accepted before one can sell his or her shares? You can sell as soon as you buy them. So you can sell at any amount at any time when you feel like, as long as the shares are in your names, you can get them, you can actually float them on the market, and then buyers will actually offer you prices. And then the offer that you get through your agent or through your broker is what you'll be able to. You can accept or you can reject. Once you accept, the money is then transferred to your account and the shares are deducted from your SCD account. Yeah, there's a question by Francis. Will there be a price variation in the primary and secondary market? Yes, there will be. Yes or no? Usually the prices change after IPO. In most cases, the prices, if the IPO has been oversubscribed, that means there are more people who wanted the shares than shares available. So the rules of demand and supply kick in, and if more people are demanding than what is available, that means the prices will go up. However, in a few instances, share prices have gone down. For example, the case of Safaricom that we had a few years ago. After IPO, prices went down and people made a loss. However, in most IPOs we have had in Uganda, share prices have actually gone up after IPO. So usually there is a variation in primary and secondary market. There are some companies that are now below IPO price. There are others that are way above IPO price. For example, Bank of Baroda, that is really above the IPO price. There's another question here. I'll answer ones that I can as we wait for Esther to get back in. How can I minimize my risk when I invest? That one maybe Esther will come and will tell us. However, most people, what they do is they spread their risk. They don't put all their eggs in one basket. They tend to invest in a number of different companies such that they have a portfolio. And the portfolio sort of protects them in case the prices of one particular thing go down. Then if it then goes up, they are not that much affected by risk. There's a question from Anne. Said, since you say this was a result of the new UCC requirements, are there other telecom companies also expected to sell shares? Yes, there are other organizations that are expected to sell shares. Airtel is supposed to list, I think, next year. However, that is not yet clear on the exact date. So once the MTN IPO is done, then their companies also list, and then that information will be provided the way it has been provided for MTN. We don't know what the price will be at the moment. However, that will be communicated. From Robina, in case of MTN, what's the annual dividend pay rate? That one is most likely, that would be Esther to really explain more. However, from what we have known from dividends, it depends on how the company performs in that particular year. If the company has made a good amount of money and they have made a good amount of profit, and they are not doing so much of reinvestment, and they can give that profit back to the shareholders. So they will calculate. So after the annual AGM, they actually say whether they're giving dividends or not. And also, if they are, they give the amount of money they'll be giving per share. So usually the dividends are sent to the brokers. I don't know if that policy has changed. However, they used to give checks, or it could be directly deposited on your account. So the dividend rate changes. For example, in the case of Uganda Clays took a number of years without declaring dividends. Yet their share price kept going up and up because people are holding for long term. They're like people are saying that Uganda Clays had a very good future. So all the money Uganda Clays was getting, they're reinvesting it into new infrastructure and new facilities to increase their production and to meet their demands. Therefore, they did not declare dividends for quite a while. But investors still held on, knowing that one day Uganda Clays will declare dividends, and also because they're having new capital gains basing on the rise in share prices. Question from Elizabeth: can I buy shares without the broker? Esther is back. I saw her briefly. Yes, Esther, can you unmute? Let me ask our admin. Okay, hold on. Yes. Yes, Esther is back.
Sorry for that. Apologies.
No problem. I tried holding the fort down. This is a hot seat, but let me hand it back to you. I can continue. Yeah. So there's a question from, okay.
I was still talking about the benefits. I talked about capital gains, the difference between the price at which you buy or sell. So if the price is higher than what you sold, it's a gain. If the price is lower than what you sell, it is a loss. So there are two monetary ways in which you benefit when you buy shares. I've seen so many rumors moving around social media that you will only get 2,000 when you buy shares. No, that is not true. As small investors or as retail people, focus more on capital gains than you focus on dividends, because the dividends may be little. Dividends usually work for big investors like pension funds, NSSF, mutual funds. But as a small investor, focus on the capital gains, the difference between which you bought at and what you sell at. Yes.
Okay. I think that also answered some other questions that had come in. There's one from Anne who had mentioned, thank you for the clear presentation, Esther. Since said this was a result of the new CC requirements, are there other telecom companies also expected to sell shares? If so, when?
Yes, there will be other Airtel companies coming on board, but we don't know when they'll come, but expect them anytime. Airtel is coming soon. So if you're interested in buying in these other Airtel companies, expect them soon. Just know before their license is renewed, they'll give them a condition to list. So they'll surely be on board.
Okay, you keep saying Airtel companies instead of telecom companies.
Oh, sorry, telecom companies. Sorry, telecom companies.
Okay, then there's a question from Patrick. How can I minimize my risk when I invest?
Just like I said, you need to diversify your portfolio. Buy into different sectors. You can look at the banking sector, look at the telecom sector, look at the manufacturing sector. That is one way of minimizing your risk when you're investing in shares. The other is diversify, look at other stock exchanges, look at the Nairobi Stock Exchange, look at the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange, diversify your risk by investing on another stock exchange.
Okay, so Dan Blaire can do buying on other stock exchanges. So I can buy through Dan Blaire to other stock exchanges?
Yes, but that's only in East Africa for now.
I cannot buy on the New York Stock Exchange, people.
Not using us.
Okay. Will there be a price variation in primary and secondary markets?
Of course. It doesn't mean that the price will automatically go up in the secondary market. It can go down, it can go up, depending on the prevailing conditions in the market at that time. So if you buy, say, your shares of MTN at 200 in the primary market, there's a possibility the price may be more than that or less than that, depending on the prevailing market conditions at that time.
Okay. There's a question from, what is the minimum amount of time accepted before one can sell his or her shares?
What I can tell you is that you cannot sell your shares in the primary market. Once you have applied, an application cannot be cancelled. You'll have to wait for the secondary market. In this case, the secondary market for MTN opens on the 6th of December at 9:30 p.m. So at 9:30 p.m., I mean rather a.m., you can sell your shares in the secondary market.
So immediately the secondary market opens, you can sell your shares?
Yes, you can put in your order to sell, or you can put in your order to buy.
Ah, okay. How would that work? Can I say that I am a bid and I see Grace Nakawanji wants to buy my shares, therefore I'm selling my shares directly to Grace?
No, a bid. That is why you have a stockbroker. Huh? The stockbroker has the expertise to see what is in the market and get you the best price available. So we meet in a market, an electronic market kind of thing. We use our computers, so we are able to see all the buyers and sellers in Uganda. So we'll put your bid or your offer, and then we'll notify you once your shares have been sold or once your shares have been bought.
So when I want to sell the shares, I notify you as my broker and tell you, Esther, I want to sell my shares.
Yes, you can do this by email. Just you write an email to your broker, put the price at which you want to sell at, but that price should be +3 what is in the market or -3 what is in the market. You should not go overboard. For example, the price of MTN is 200, and then you say you want to sell yours at 30,000. You should first see know what is in the market, and then place your order. How do you know what is in the market? You visit the Uganda Securities website and see what is trading, at how much, and the volumes that have been moved.
So there's a question from Robin Akello. In the case of MTN, what's the annual dividend pay rate?
In the case of MTN has promised to pay at least 60% of what they make in profits. So it can be more, but they've promised to pay at least 60% of what they'll make. Dividends for different companies vary depending on their dividend policy. So depends on the company where you bought your shares.
All right. Elizabeth Atamba is asking, after creating the SCD account, can I buy shares without the broker?
Please note, to buy shares, you need to go through a stockbroker. It doesn't matter which platform you're using. You'll still need to select a broker. You cannot buy shares without a broker.
All right. Okay. So SD account is just an identification number and tells me the shares that I own.
The SCD account is where your shares are deposited.
Okay.
After you have bought them, and withdrawn after you sell them.
All right.
That is an SCD account. Then the SCD account number is your unique identification number.
All right. There's a question from Chigwed Godfrey. Godfrey has put up his hand. Godfrey, you can go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, can you hear me? Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Abid, for the opportunity. You can hear me?
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity, Mr. Abid. And thank you, Madam Kakiiza, for the presentation, which was good. Maybe two quick questions. One, in case I chose Dyer and Blaire Investment Bank as my stockbroker, what would be required of me? And then two, are there taxes that come with benefits of owning shares?
Thank you, Godfrey. What your stockbroker requires of you, or what Dyer and Blaire requires of you, is to open up an SCD account using the 3 options that we've mentioned, using your MTN line, the Easy Portal platform, or using the paperwork method. So if you open up the SCD account, you'll be able to trade shares on the Uganda Securities Exchange. You'll be able to trade in MTN, you'll be able to trade in Umeme, NIC, to mention but a few. If you need to trade on the Nairobi Stock Exchange, you need to open up a different SCD account, but in Nairobi, it's not called SCD account, it's called a CDS account. So whatever stock exchange you go to, you need to have an SCD account for that stock exchange. So that is what we require of you, and then you'll start trading. The taxes that come with investing in shares are withholding tax, which is charged on dividends, 10% for Ugandans and 15% for foreigners. In other countries, we have capital gains tax, but in Uganda, we don't have it as yet, but who knows? It may come up now that the stock exchange is going to become very active. They may implement the capital gains tax, but in Uganda, we don't have it. So the only tax you have is withholding tax, which will be charged on your dividends.
Okay, since we're talking about
that answers your question.
Since we're talking about capital gain, Robin had asked, does the gain on the sale, do you pay any taxes when you're selling the shares? On sale of share, is there any tax?
Not for now, not in Uganda.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
But in other East African...
Please, continue. You're saying in other East African
countries, you may...
Okay. We have one last question from Dr. Nishawa Jacob. In all these, where is a broker benefiting from? Do I have to pay a certain percentage to them?
That's a good question, Doctor. In the primary market, the issuer meets all our costs to enable you apply for the shares. But in the secondary market, it's the investor that meets their own cost. So we charge a fee of 2.1% on every buy or sell that you do. That's in the secondary market. But in the primary market, the fees are met by the issuer.
Okay. So right now at IPO, the person who's buying, if I'm applying for shares, I will not be paying anything to the broker.
You will not pay anything to the broker.
Okay. But later on, if I decide to sell my shares or I decide to buy more shares in the secondary market after December 6th, then the broker will be taking 0.1% of every sale.
No, 2.1%.
2.1, okay.
2.1%, yes.
All right, all right. Okay, thank you very much, Esther, for coming and joining us here today. I hope it has been insightful. In case you have any more questions, you can post there in chat. As I mentioned earlier before, this is part of the series of Global Entrepreneurship Week. There are a number of companies, a number of organizations that are working with entrepreneurs, that are working with people to help them grow their businesses, to help their personal finance, to answer any question anywhere. So there are a lot of events that are happening online. Some are physical, but most are online, so you can tune in. Use the hashtag GW2021, GWUG on any social media platform and be able to access a number of events. We can share some that are happening tomorrow. We have an interesting one on legal. Admin, could you share some of the events that are happening tomorrow? Okay, we have something from we have a talk about legal costs as a startup. What do you need to know? That will be hosted by Wezi. There's ecosystem breakfast. There's going to be a talk today about blockchain. There are quite a number of events that are happening. If you look in today's new vision, you'll be able to see some of the events that are scheduled to happen. Monitor has something also. You can just check it out. So there's one final question from Dr. Nishawa Jacob asking, so if I start with one broker and that 2.1 becomes high for me, and there's another broker willing to transact for less than that, am I free to trade with any of my preference? Esther? Esther, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Yes. So a question from
Yes.
Jacob.
Yeah, so this fee, the 2.1%, is set by a Capital Markets Authority. We cannot go below it or above it. So all brokers are charging 2.1%. So there's not much you can do in terms of a fee. However, if you're not contented with the services that your broker is giving you, feel free, you can change your broker or apply to change to or be transferred to another broker. But the fee won't change. The fee will remain 2.1%.
Okay. So when I'm changing from broker to broker, is there a cost that I incur?
No, not as of now. There is no cost that you'll incur. You'll be free to change, and no one should charge you anything unless you're changing brokers on the NSE. They have some charges they charge. Just visit your broker. If you need to change a broker in Uganda, just visit your broker, ask them to sign for you Form B and Form A, and then take them to your broker of your choice at that time.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, Esther. It seems we have exhausted our questions today. As we have been sharing some of the posters happening at GW. So if you want to have your business featured under GW, under Global Entrepreneurship Week, you can share a video talking about your business, and we shall also share it in all our clips. You can send an email to gw@enterprise.co.ug, or you can send a WhatsApp message or video to that number on your screen. We shall be able to share all this with our partners. So all our partners are working together to make sure that this information is shared and is relevant for as many people as possible. Our theme is recovering stronger. There's a fireplace for survival happening tomorrow at 5:30, sharing startup survival tips by one of our partners, Tech Buzz. So you'll find contact points and more information on every event if you go to our WhatsApp, our social media at Enterprise Uganda on our website. There's something happening at UMA today at midday. They are talking business tailored program with the Southampton Business School on different topics. So you find we have so many events. You just look for one that is relevant for you and you attend. Almost all these events are free of charge. There is no cost to you. They are all under the Global Entrepreneurship Week. Thank you very much, Esther. This was very informative, and thank you everybody for attending and jumping in.
Thank you, Abid, for hosting me.
All right, people, see you. See you very much at Enterprise Uganda. We shall continue bringing this series every Thursday. Every Thursday, details on our social media profiles. And these series are free for you to attend. And you can always register. When you register, we get your contact details and we keep you updated about everything that is happening at Enterprise Uganda in order to grow your business. Thank you very much.